Okay. Where's my pen? Here's my pen. Okay. So we're pretty much done algorithm. In algorithm, we talk about the design cycle. We have analyze, design, and what have you. And we learn many things. We learn about flowchart. We did that before. Flowchart. Not flower chart, flowchart. Flowchart. What else? We did trace table. Trace tables. Last class. We did state transition diagrams. Today is the last class about the diagram because diagram we have one diagram and it's called what? It's called structured diagram or structured chart. Okay, and so that's what we're going to learn about. Okay, let's just do a quick review about the what is the name of this diagram called, Wendy? Transition diagram. What is the purpose, Floss, of a transition diagram? What is the purpose?
It's used to show the change in position.
Yes, it's used to show the change in states of function or module. Okay, and I found this. Do you guys remember the story about this mana?
Yes, sir.
And I went on Taobao and I bought it. And then I found a document. And then I had a look. There was no data sheet about this. And so I looked at this chip. And you know what? I found a diagram. What is this diagram called there, Chad? What is the diagram?
Pseudocode chart.
It's not a structured chart. That's what we're going to study today. This is called a state transition diagram. Because right in the middle says what? Run. If I want the motor to run, what do I have to do? For example, I must make sure that the brake is low. I must make sure you can see the different states. It's not in standby, right? It has to be not standby mode, and then the motor will run. And so the things that we learned in our class is like for engineering. If you want to make some technology, you need to be able to you get state diagram. And this is the design. If you do motor, if you build a robot, if you do the AI car, they draw these kind of diagrams. Okay? Wendy, are you okay? And there's basically two major tasks that we've done. You should be able to draw and fill in this kind of table about. If I give you a 2PN image, you should be able to fill in the table. We can already do that. We can do it, no problem. And you should be able to go from table to the diagram. We did that two days ago. 这个 should have 没有问题。如果也不确定你 try to do your 作业. I put the state diagram in your homework page. The very first question, 有没有? So if you're not treating, 你再试一下. This is your part of your homework, okay? If you can't figure it out. Now, yes. So we should be able to fill in the tables. I have that. We've done that before. Oh, right here. Today, it's a new day. Today, I'm going to show you structured charts. And we're going to write a little bit in your notebook, okay? So you need to know what is the function of structured charts. Structured diagrams are used to show the flow of functions and models. 你需要写 in your notebook. I want you to write down structured chart. 你需要写 We're going to take a note. Structured charts are diagrams that show the flow of function. This is part of when we talked about functions and procedures, right? So you can either write in your notebook or you can write here, 都行. You can use your computer science term and write down structure chart, or you can write in your notebooks, 都行, 写 structure chart. And then you 可以画一个图片. A structure chart looks like this. The box are the procedure or function names. These are like function names. Okay? The things that you should know on the structure chart, the box, they call them modules. Box is for modules. And what does module mean there, Flats? What is the other word for module? Procedure function. Okay? You can use it either or, because sometimes we give data and sometimes we pass data. So they can be function. Wendy, what is a function?
Well, and it's like the code to a task and this would return.
A function is basically a code to do a task. That's right. And it has a return. And so if you look at this, you see we have some data that is returned. And so this module Y, is this a function or a procedure there, Ched? 这个是 function or procedure. Look over here, remember? Function is if you 回来一个东西. And procedure is only 放进去一个东西. Let's look at the arrows here. Arrows are to do with the variables that you pass into the module. This means I'm putting the data into this module. Does this module ever 回来一个东西? Does it have any 东西 that come back up? 有没有? It has one going up. 对不对? This is going up, and this is going in. If you have data going in and up, is this a function 还是 module? Procedure? 它有没有回来东西? 我放进去两个东西回来一个东西. Agree or disagree? So this is called this would be a function. Agree or disagree? Wendy, module X, is this a procedure or a function? Module X, is this a procedure or a function?
I think this is a function.
Function 是要回来一个东西.
Oh, sorry. Procedure.
This would be a procedure.
I didn't see the arrow.
So you need to know what the arrow do. In your notebook, 你需要写 if you have an arrow with a bubble, this means that it's a variable that goes into the function. Okay? This is like passing a 2 or a 4. You can put integers, or you can put real into a function. Okay? Now, if the arrow has a black node, if it has a black node, it means that the variable is Boolean. What does Boolean mean there, Floss?
It's true or false.
That's correct. And so you see we have a hey do right here. This right here means that this is a Boolean 变化 变量. It's a Boolean variable here. And if it has a double arrow there, Wendy, what does this mean? If it has a double arrow, what does that mean?
What they updated variable?
It means that we have the function takes the variable and he 改一改 and then he give it back. So if I have a variable that goes into a function and change, you have to have 2 arrows to him. So I want you to copy the definitions and draw this in your notes. Make sure you take the note. Box for functions. 你写 the little 小豆 that's 空着 is variables like integers and reals and floats. Okay? The 黑豆 is for Boolean variables. Okay? 写好了? Do you have? You have it. Wonderful. Jen, you have? You need to copy this, only this. A box is for module. This is for variables. The heido with the thing is called Boolean. And if you have a double arrow, it's called that the variable update. Because if you know this, we can draw and understand. Because look at this picture here. The triangle is like an if statement, right? And this function, it passes a variable called SA. It goes into function Z. Agree or disagree? And this function, we also pass out some data. I can function in Python, you can give some data to a thing, and inside, if you have a return, okay, maybe you return some sort of integer, then this would be a function. So module Z is a function because he gives data inside function 回来. This passes two data inside this module. This would be a procedure. 它没有回来. And the last one is I give one variable and one Boolean operation into this guy, and he passes one Boolean. That would be a function. Okay? So this is the overview. Let's do an example. You need to 画起来 a diagram. Okay. Chet, do you got that? 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay. So, we just have one example and it's on your piece of paper. Can you look at your homework page? We all have this diagram. We all have this diagram. And so, what we have to do is this diagram is half done. You can identify that we have a variable here, and we have a Boolean here. He's going in, this is going in and out. And we also have an update right here. Agree or disagree? So the very first step is you're going to be given some code to draw. We need to take this code and we need to 画画. What is the name of this there, Wendy? 这个图片叫什么? What is the name of this 图片?
Structure chart.
That is correct. It says complete the structure chart for these modules. And how do we do? I want you to write, okay, I will just explain the success criteria. The very first step to get 100分, I will do 1步, 2步, 3步, 4步, 4 steps. Okay? If you follow these 4 steps, you're guaranteed to get 100%. What is the very first step there, Wendy? What is the very first step?
Determine the modules.
The very first step is to write the names of the functions inside these kind of things, because these are all functions or modules. Agree or disagree? How can we do that? Well, we have module A here. We have module A here as a procedure. This is already done for me. Agree or disagree? And right here, we have a module called module X. Okay? We have a module Y. And we have a function Z. And we have to figure out which is which. And so the very first thing is determine the modules. How can we do that? We can look at the calls. Okay, right here, module X, it calls another function called reset. And module Y calls this. That means that you have a function, a method inside him. So right here, I have X or Y. This can be X or Y. Because we know he calls something. That means he has the other layer. And so I'm going to put this as x or y. 我不确定. And we have one more module z. So I already know that this must be module. 你写 module z. Wendy, how do I know that the 中间 is module z? How do I know? I'm 100% sure that that's module z. 为什么我知道?
Because it doesn't.
Say one more time, yeah?
The module X and Y, they at least did something, but module Z did nothing.
Correct. Module X and Z have a sub-function or function. For example, module X calls the other guy. He has another layer. And so now I have to determine if this is X or Y. Okay. Now, how can I know if this is X or Y? What you can do, the next step is we look at the variables. Look at the variables. You'll notice that we have some variables going in and out. Agree or disagree? And we also have some variables that are black with a black node. Agree or disagree? Right here, this has passing one data into and one Boolean. This is called Boolean. Identify all your Boolean thing. Okay? We have Boolean here. Agree or disagree? And then here, we have an update. We have an update. And so you need to know, I'm going to scroll back up. You must have this in your notes and 背出来. This is the stuff that you need to 背出来. You need to understand that this means update, this means Boolean, this is a 变量. Okay? If we know this, let me scroll down. Then we can determine whether this is X or Y. Well, let's look at the code. Let's look at the code. Okay. X has two things. This is integer, it's T1. And it also has a real. Integers and real, those are two guys like this. 它没有 Boolean. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? X 没有 Boolean. Y, 你看这边 Y has an integer. It has one thing called R8, it's integer. And it also has a hedo called RB. And look at this, it also has a return. It has a return, which is a Boolean. Agree or disagree? Module Z, it just has a variable, and it also has a return variable. Okay? So the second thing is identify your Boolean things. So I'm going to ask Floss, is this X or Y? Look at this. And look at this. Is this X or Y? They're Floss. Naga sure X and what one's Y? Is the first one X 还是 Y? X. 你怎么知道? You think it's X. This is module X. And you're going to say that then this is module Y. How did you know? Can you say one more time there, Floss? You're correct. But how did you know that this is module X and this is module Y? 你怎么知道?
There's no.
Yes, if we look here, module X only has two variables. Agree or disagree? He does not have Boolean. There is no Bool. He's integer and real. 没有 Bool. But Y, it has an integer. Hey, this is an integer. 对不对? And it has a Boolean. and it returns the boolean. 这个是回来 so 我一定是 y. So this is 成功. Now we can do the next layer because y has a call function. Y calls restore. So I already know that this is the process called restore. Restore. And x is reset. 你写 this is the 答案. Okay? 我们可以写 right here again. We know that now because we're doing the idea. Okay. We are not done. We are half done. I'm just going to erase this. Okay, so far so good. So far so good? Any question? Wendy? Judy?
I think we still have one thing.
Yeah, the very first thing is module. The next thing we have to do is we have to draw. There's more stuff 我们需要画出来. Because look right here. In module, module X, he has some data. We also have reset. Yes.
I mean is that diamond symbol.
Diamond is the if.
Okay.
Yeah. The diamond is like a ruble. Okay? So what we have to do is you'll see that we have some more arrows that we have to draw. Okay? So let's start with module A. Module A is done. I'm going to put a 成功. I'm going to do each one to treating 我画了所有的东西. The second thing is we have procedure X. Procedure X, we have T1 and an S2. It passed this guy. Okay? So we have two things going into module X. And it's T1. 你需要写 the label. Okay, we're on step 3. Okay? And S2. Okay? We have this done. Okay. Procedure reset. It just updates our code here. And we had that done already. Okay? Reset 成功. We have a function called restore, and it has an integer and bool. This is a thing, but we have to label. Restore has old code. 这个叫 old. We have to write his name. Old code. You see, he has a name of the variable. So 我就是看那个 reset. Restore, right? And the integer, which is this guy right here, his name, because we have to put the name of the labels. And this name is called old code. And it just returns a boolean. This boolean does not have a name, so we just leave it like that, but you have to write old code. Okay? This is done. I'm going to put a check. I'm on module Y now. Module Y has RA data, which is an integer. So I'm going to call this RA. This is an integer. And it also is passed a boolean called RB. So 这个需要一个 boolean. So you have to draw a boolean variable that's going to this function. And 它的名字是 RB. And then he returns a boolean. So 我们需要画起来 return. Okay? So you just check off each of those little things that he did. This guy's done. He has 3个东西. 我需要画起来3个东西. And then the last one, the Z1, that's the middle guy. He has an integer going in. and that's called SA. And he returns an integer, but he doesn't have a name of that, so he just goes in like that. There we go. Check off when done. What does that mean? You see I'm checking. You see I'm checking this. This is the procedure. If you follow these steps, 第一步，你看那个 function name， 这是最后第一步 ，you must do. You can figure it out by looking at the variables. The second thing, you must determine you need to draw. Maybe instead of determine, let's put draw. You need to draw these guys. After you draw these guys, you need to label. And then you just double check each time. And then you should be good to go. Okay? Wendy, tell me what is the very first step when we're doing these kind of diagrams? The 第一步你需要干什么?
Determine the modules.
Yeah, you need to write the name of the modules. Chad, what is the 第二步? What is the second thing you must do when you're doing these diagrams? 看这边。Yeah. The second thing you need to do is draw these guys. Do it. And then you must label them. And then you check it out. Okay, that's it. I'm going to give you one problem to do by yourself. And
I need to memorize.
do not need to memorize. What is the thing that you need to 背起来? Their Chad. 这个不需要背起来。这个东西需要背起来。
Yeah, I need to copy.
Yeah, copy that. Okay, I'm gonna on the board. I'm going to. 我们有几分钟? 我们有15分钟? Is that correct?
Almost.
Okay, I'm going to draw one diagram on the whiteboard, and I want you to 试一下. If you get it correct, it means 你懂了. 如果 you 没有那么懂, means 继续做. Okay? Flash, are you okay? Can I borrow your textbook? I just want to take an example from the textbook. And oh my, look, we have right here. Oh, so nice. Oh, we have right here. Nice. Okay. 准备好了? Actually, I think I have one inside our homework folder. You can have a look in your textbook. It talks about this stuff right here. You see? This is this structured diagram. Okay. So, Chet, do you have this success criteria? No problem? Okay. So our practice, I'm pretty sure I put a practice question in our workbook here. Let me just double check. So we have the transition state diagrams from the last time. Okay, how come this is not scrolling? This is the one we did in class. Do we have one more? I'm going to put one more question in here from our previous stuff. So let's see here. We have practice exams. No, it's not practice exams. Is it practice exams? Yes, practice exams. We're on paper 2. So let's find one of these things. So paper 2, these are A-level exams. And I'm going to find one of those diagrams. Okay, we have a flow chart. Okay, not that guy. Let's check this paper. there'll be at least one or two about this. Let me just find one here. Oh, that's flow chart. Uh-huh. There's our transition state diagrams. Okay. My computer's a little bit slow here. Okay. Let me know if you see one. Okay. I'm going to make one up for you guys here. I'll have to scroll through a couple of these, but oh, that's the one we just did. That's the same one that we did. Okay. Just let me just, how to do? I want you to redo the same one, but I'm just going to change some things here, okay? So I'm going to change this to a Boolean. Okay, we'll just do the same example. You can just sketch it out, but I'm just going to change a little bit of details here, okay? And then what happens is I'm going to delete this return Boolean, and I want you to update this to have a new guy here called BE, and that is float. Okay, I want you to use this, and I want you to draw the structured chart for this. Okay, that's it. That's it.